we agreed an amount. I'm not going to disclose what it is, but we've agreed an amount.
Tell us the evaluation of which you agreed on that. You're not giving us a percent, so we don't know.
I'll give you a range.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. You can
between $5 and $15
$1 million.
5 and 15,000. This is
How much money did Seedhe Maut make a year to date?
I can't answer.
just take a
Take
shot.
the shot.
Like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've distributed over 25 CR in 7 years. We don't necessarily want to be known for Azadi, but we want to be known for the artists that are on Azadi.
Then what happens when an artist leaves? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Having Said That show. I'm your co-host Adi alongside Jay.
What's up, guys?
On today's episode, we have the person who is directly responsible for some of the biggest and personally a couple of my favorite, Prabh and Seedhe Maut's career in Desi hip hop. He is the founder and owner of Azadi Records and a really good friend. Mo Joshi is on the pod.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, Mo. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm good.
Mo called me with a vengeance in his voice.
Yeah.
It seems like he wanted to get things off his chest, and he was like, there's no podcast that is willing to talk about this. I was like, yo, you're always welcome on ours.
Yeah, well, I don't normally do this. I don't normally talk a lot.
We like to get the show started with our guest's most controversial opinion, and I feel like we've laid it up for you to have the most controversial one, so go for it.
I've got a couple.
Yeah, you can rattle them off one by one, actually.
Well,
It's
no,
fine.
I'll stick to one. I'll stick to one. I'll stick to something that is obviously something that I work in. I saw your episode with Abish,
Oh, yeah.
and you spoke about managers.
Yes.
And so my controversial opinion is that once you get a manager, you as an artist need to work 10 times harder.
Yes.
Okay.
And I feel that there is an idea or thought that, okay, I've got a manager now, things are going to immediately start rolling for me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? But now whether that manager is a freelancer or if that manager, for example, runs a company like mine, we only make money if you make money.
Of
Do you
course.
know what I mean? And for me, it's always 50-50. Do you know what I mean? There isn't, and whether it's, most managers.
Well, you should clear that.
That's
You don't
not
mean
the
commission.
split,
You don't
guys.
mean
Yeah.
commission.
Well, there's a debate to be had about that as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
I
Okay,
think,
let's
I
talk
think
about
you guys
let's
are going to
debate.
get into a heated
Yeah.
debate. 'cause
Well, no, let me.
this is contrary to everything I've heard.
No, it depends on. Obviously, loads of factors. It depends on where you are in your career, where the manager is in his career, what city you live in. Do you know what I
Sure.
mean? There's a standard cost of living. But for example, if you have a manager who is full time just managing you, okay, imagine what it takes for you to earn. To live. So you together need to make 5 times as much as that for him to live.
Sure.
You know what I mean? At the standard, 20%.
Yep.
If you're the only artist they manage, that could be a good argument to make.
I think here in India specifically, managers are set up to fail. Okay.
Okay.
Day one.
Okay.
You can't be doing someone's travel, someone's social media, someone's sales, someone's
Sure.
TBL. Do you know what I mean? It's impossible.
Okay, on the strategy aspect, what would you do as a manager if your artist had a very particular path forward in his mind and you had something completely different?
Debate, discuss, write it down. I think like most things in life, communication is key, and there's not many people that fully use that medium of discussion, debate. Do you know what I mean? A lot of relationships, whether they're personal or business, break down because of lack of communication.
Yeah, but why do you think that is though? Like, because you're saying it should be like a
I think
50-50 friendship.
Well, there's always like a honeymoon period, and you don't want to say this, and you don't want to rock the boat. And one thing that I've learned over 20 odd years is to say no.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And I think I find the people that say no easier have a better time in certain relationships because you get rid of the ambiguity from the start. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I've had a massive problem in saying no for a lot of my life. I'm a very I'll fucking do it. I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Because
you want to be that guy who makes shit happen for the artist.
I want to do well. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? I want everyone to do well, but just that saying no thing. You know what I mean? The older I've got, the more and more, and it's not because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's because you really need to stick to a plan. Do you know what I mean? And I'm talking 6 months, 18 months, 12 months, decide a schedule, and whatever comes up in the middle, don't do it.
Yeah. So how long would you say an artist needs to like be established before getting a manager or an agent? Or do you think there is like a time to do it?
Here's another controversial opinion. It's very easy to be an artist today.
Oh, okay.
Very easy.
'Cause I don't think so at all. Just from watching him, I've seen the amount of work he puts in.
Easy in the sense of, hey, I'm an artist.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
you can say that.
Yeah,
You can record something in your bedroom and suddenly become.
And I don't mean in any way that that's a bad thing. Let's look at 100 artists that are performing today in India. 15 years ago, would that same person time travel, but whatever, would they be an artist is my question. And I'm not saying again that they shouldn't, or do you know what I mean? But because of how the creator economy has grown, the role of an artist, the role of a manager, I feel has splintered off a little bit in that sense. Do you know what I mean? And
so what would you say for like a young upcoming artist? What distinguishes them from being like a rando artist, like you said, versus like a legit proper studio recording, album making artist?
First, decide what you want to be, an influencer or an artist.
Okay.
Because I think that's really important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then basis that, for me, an artist grows through quality and consistency.
Sure.
Okay. Because there are way too many one-hit wonders that have blown off 100 million plays or 50,000 sales. The follow-up doesn't work. The album doesn't work. They get dropped and never heard of again.
Yeah.
You know?
Is there anyone that comes to mind when you say that? Any specific example?
Well, in this country?
Yeah.
Well, I think we're kind of nascent in that phase in this country. I think that those booms are happening at the moment.
Yeah,
you know what
sure.
I mean? Again, I went through the kind of 90s, early 2000s, and do you know what I mean? There was a load of boys. Let's just take Soulja Boy, for example. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Now he's made a lot of money. He's pivoted.
Yeah.
But is he a great artist?
Well, I think you could consider his peak as like he's got some hits.
I
you know what I mean?
I don't know name people that can name 5 Soulja Boys.
Yeah, 5 is hard.
You know what I mean?
5 is hard. 5 is
do you know what I mean? But when we're talking about artists, we're talking about Michael Jackson.
Sure.
Like, for
100%.
me, Mariah Carey. Do you know what I mean? Like dedicated, decorated 2-3 decade careers.
Yeah. So I like all these names you're throwing at me, right? Because I've had this argument so many times with whether it's Aditya or Aman on the pod, where it's like, do you think that with social media right now, people can ever reach that level of stardom again? Because that stardom also had something to do with that exclusivity of being this like mythical character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think obviously times changed a lot. You know, I think Michael Jackson did the first music video, if I'm not mistaken, on MTV.
Wow, is that?
I think it was Thriller, wasn't it?
I think it was the first black artist.
Oh, was it first black artist? Yeah. And I remember, you know, the kind of explosion of music videos. And they were like 7 minutes long. They were little movies. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now we've got, you know, smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller in terms of kind of content in that sense. But
I just saw a music video by, have you heard of this guy, Tawfiq Khan? Do you remember Kevin Clark, the guy who produced 22 with the release that we did?
Yes.
So he has a new song called Listen to Me. And Tawfiq is this director I met who did an 8.5 minute video.
Oh.
And it's fantastic. Like,
How
it's
long is
very
the song?
Cool. The song is maybe like a 2.5 minute song.
Oh, and he did.
He's made a little film out of it.
He
made a proper film.
That's cool.
He's worked on this for like a year and he just dropped it. So shout out to Tawfiq. Man. Yeah.
No, I like that. And again, I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. I don't want to get hated online for it. But yeah, I just feel that I think some people get confused between artist and influencer.
Yeah.
And even in the music space, do you know what I mean? And I feel the foundation, especially to build a fan base that stays with you for years and grows with you and you grow with them and your subject matter changes. And do you know what I mean? It's that connection between listener and creator. Do you know what I mean? And again, you know, music might be for me different for what it is for somebody else, but we all listen to the same 300 songs. Do you know what I mean? A song might pop off or pop on,
Sure.
but you have your set go-to kind of playlist and you connect with that song because it sparks an inherent memory of something or gives a certain feel to you about something. So you listen to certain things in the gym, you listen to certain things when you're sad, you listen to certain things when you miss people. So there's an inherent connection with music that you get. So I feel that, for me, authenticity and credibility in an artist is the most important thing. So somebody asked me, what do you look for in demos? And I was like, I just close my eyes and I go, do I believe this guy or girl? Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
and there's I feel that there's something within you that inherently is your kind of guiding compass in terms of, I believe this person.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? And whether it's the vocal, whether it's the lyrics, whether it's their delivery. And I think that's even harder in rappers. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of rappers don't tell their own story. And even some of the biggest rappers in the world have made up stories in songs. But the delivery is in such a way that you believe it and you're there in that space. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I know we kind of diverted away from it,
sure. So we'll get back to that, right? Like your influencer versus artist. Like you said, the role of a manager has splintered off into so many different things. Don't you think the role of an artist has also become a little more on themselves to sell? Just because there's so many of them, the landscape has changed so much that if people don't know that you're making really, really good music, then you never like nobody ever knows. You're making music for your friends, for your neighborhood. Nobody else listens to it. Are you out there? Like, do you make music? You know what I'm saying? You have to sell yourself to a certain extent.
It's tougher than it's ever been. Do you know what I mean? But I honestly feel that, again, quality and consistency in what you do. And if you really want to build a fan base, it's not a real trend because then you're constantly having to chase something. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think, are you aware of Mr. Beast?
Yes.
Do you think he has a real fan base?
I think at one point he did.
And now?
Oh, you don't think that?
Well, again, now you've picked somebody that has, I can't remember what the time frame was, but I think he was on it for like years.
Yeah, he's been on it.
He's been grinding. He's been grinding.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, and again, quality, consistency. He was just consistent with it again and again. And I think when anybody gets to that stage, the scale of the audience is such that you'll find massive segments of a specific kind anyway.
Yeah.
And, has his overall messaging diluted? Probably not. He still wants to make, his ethos is still make videos people will want to watch.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Think of cool ideas. It's obviously blown up in scale and now he's doing ridiculous.
And I guess he is he is an influencer. That's his kind of, his target audience will keep changing, I guess. Like when you grow out of that Mr. Beast phase, a new generation will take its place.
I'd love to see the data on Mr. Beast because, again, I feel data's kind of key to making a lot of informed decisions. And if you've been around for that long, there's enough tools out there to understand who is with you, how long they've been with you.
Oh, like retention.
Not just that. Yeah, not just retention in terms of video watch time, but this person's been watching your videos for 6 years.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? And what's the watch time again for a 6-year person and a 6-month person?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that, and again, I feel that there's a lot of people that have invested so much of their childhood with Mr. Beast that there's a certain amount of nostalgia around it. Do you know what I mean? I was older when this podcast influencer YouTuber phase happened, but I've got an 8-year-old, 2 11-year-olds, a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old niece and nephews, and they are fully within that. You know what I mean? Like that is their complete world, basically. Very,
screen oriented.
Yeah, very. Just, do you know what I mean? And very much for me, when I was growing up, it was, the 4, 5, 6 p.m. TV shows that used to come on, and we used to watch those religiously, or the children's show in the afternoon. And I even watched that until I was 17. Do you know what I mean?
So let's say you're going on this new journey of putting out music every week, right?
Every 2 weeks, yeah.
That kind of becomes your social media spin, is the fact that he is going to put out music every once a week or every 2 times a week.
Yeah.
But if people don't know he's putting out the music, do you trust that it'll just kind of pop off?
No, it's really difficult, man. We live in a very
which is why I was advocating for a little more of like you gotta have some amount of control over your marketing, especially today.
Yeah, well, I hate that fucking word.
No, dude, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll tell you what
all
it is.
artists should be free to create.
I'll tell you what it is. First of all, obviously, it doesn't work. It's not the same shoe fits all. But we never built a label. We built communities. Do you know what I mean? In the same way, we didn't want to put videos on our YouTube channel. There was a number of decisions that we made early on to go, okay, we don't necessarily want to be known for Azadi, but we want to be known for the artists that are on Azadi.
Sure.
That makes sense.
So let's talk about that. Then what happens when an artist leaves?
We go find another one.
Sure, but if, let's say, well, the most recent exit for you guys has been Prabh. I'd love to know more about why that happened in the first place. But if you feel like you'd created a community around Azadi,
But around the artist, yeah.
No. I mean, if you had made it around Azadi,
Yes.
do you feel like you would have had less of a loss in terms of like just people moving away?
I reckon he would have left sooner.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
Because he wouldn't have felt like...
Yeah, and again, 90% of the audience that know us because of an artist that we've worked with.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Very few people find the label and then discover the artists within the label. You see what I mean?
Here's where I'll insert like a lyrical lemonade.
Go on.
They are not a label,
Yeah.
although they can function like one. They were
Yeah.
offered like a 60 million deal by Universal as
Yeah.
well. But they kind of built their community around doing free music videos for people.
Okay.
And then they would have those artists' videos embedded on their channel. So inherently you're dedicated to this YouTube curation page.
Yeah.
And then that kind of creates your taste for whatever's happening.
Yeah. I don't.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna. I thought that phrase was like,
Yeah.
I'm about to drop a few gems right now. Like, I thought you were saying like, I'm about to hit you with a lyrical lemonade of this.
I don't think.
I swear to God, bro.
I don't think a lyrical lemonade could have worked in India.
I disagree.
Really?
I agree.
What,
I
what
disagree.
7 years
you
ago?
agree?
I agree with you.
What
I think
now or 7 years ago?
7 years ago. I think it could not have
No.
worked when it started in the
7
US.
years ago.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't
It could
hear
not have
that.
happened here. And I also, so my relationship with Indian hip hop, Indian rap started with Gully Boy. Like that's where it began.
Like most people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe like 6 months before I saw like the Vice like documentary on YouTube about it, and I was like, there's this whole fucking world in my own city that I've never heard of. And I heard of Azadi fairly early on into that journey. And I know you're saying that you've built around the artist, but A, I think Azadi is a great name for a record like this, a record label like this. And B, now if I see an artist with that Azadi branding, I'm far more likely to be like, oh,
Now you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So again,
you know what I mean?
everything kind of changes in that sense. And we're going through a massive restructuring at the moment because we now have built that
Exactly,
identity to be able to do that, and why it's now a little bit easier for us to bring out newer artists than it was
yeah.
kind of before, because there's a foundation, a platform, or kind of whatever you want to call it. But
And so that's where it becomes like a sort of lyrical lemonade, not in the sense of like you'll do the same thing, but also if I see, oh, lyrical lemonade has done a video for this artist, okay, I'll go check it out.
Yeah.
I know if Azadi, this guy has been like whatever.
It's a curation. It's curation.
We've thought about doing kind of IPs in terms of kind of that, Daily Duppy type video piece, which, you know what I mean? And I think there's definitely some legs in it. I haven't really had the time to kind of explore it. But just in the last 7 years, the landscape has massively changed here.
Yeah,
Do you know
like
what I mean?
it's switched from that whole 2000s era of like, YMCMB, and you gotta get all the artists on a label, good music. Like you rarely hear labels dropping like albums like that anymore, like Shady Records, like Dr. Dre, Eminem, 50 Cent. That's usually how the newer artists would come into the mainstream. Like you'd get Drake on a Lil Wayne song. And I feel like that's disappeared a little bit now. So is that what you want to kind of bring back into the space?
Well, I think, look, the idea of Azadi was never to be a major or aspire to be a major. The idea was always to be a mid-level boutique indie agency record label that found stories. Do you know what I mean? Or found, we very early on made it a mandate to be a regional label rather than focus on Hindi or Punjabi specifically. So we've tried very hard to find other vernacular languages and artists. And, I think we've got 9 languages, releases in 9 languages across the catalog in that sense. But, going back to the Prabh thing, somebody asked me, like, did it hurt? Were you upset when you left? And I was like, no. Just means I did my job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he felt, I haven't actually said this before. So he asked me to pick between him and Seedhe Maut. And, you know, I've got 11 acts on the roster. And whether it was Prabh or whether it was anybody else, you know what I mean? I wouldn't pick somebody. Do you see what I mean?
Like, you would prioritize anyone?
Yeah, you know, he felt like he needed more attention or, you know, more work. And even though there was, you know, there's 20 of us at Azadi across kind of all departments. But again, I think there was a I don't know, maybe a competitive kind of streak or something, but you know, there was an issue with him, with me spending as much time as I do on Seedhe Maut, because obviously there's a lot of work there, and you know, they've been growing at a kind of rapid pace, and it was very amicable. It was like, cool, you want to, you know what I mean? We'll just cool. I'm not gonna. I don't want to work with anybody that doesn't want to work with me, regardless of what a contract says.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and yeah, it didn't. It meant that I felt that I did my job, and the next thing that I wanted to do was, okay, let's go find another Prabh.
Sure.
You know, if that's the thing, and that's what I think that's what we will continue doing. I've always looked to find young, talented artists that I feel this industry would eat up.
Yeah.
Basically. Do you know what I
So
mean?
you actually mentioned to us when we spoke to you earlier that a lot of people don't understand or don't fully understand what the music industry really is.
It's not the music industry.
Exactly. So what do
It's
you
the
what do you
finance
think?
industry.
Okay. So let's get into that.
Yeah. So again, to give you some context, so when we set the label up in 2017, I put in, you know, X amount of money over the last kind of 7 years. And
how much?
We've distributed over 25 CR in 7 years.
Okay.
That's what my audited accounts tell me. So we've paid out over 25 CR to creators, video makers, licensing, you know, wages, salary, artist fees, booking fees. I know this because I just went through due diligence, which took 6 months basically. We were very poor administratively, and that's kind of changed over the last 6 months, but it gave me insight into how much I've spent, how much we've made back, what we've paid out, what we spent it on, what areas of the business are profitable, what areas of the business aren't profitable. And I mean business, we're not just a record label, we're a management company. We do bookings, we do production, we do agency work, consultancy, you know, kind of multiple things under that banner. And we were just so tunnel visioned into, you know, making music and putting music out that the business side was often overlooked. Do you know what I mean? We made losses on multiple years. We made a little profit on a couple of years, but the profit that we made was always on an agency job that we then put back into kind of funding the releases. So from between 2017 and 2020, it was all self-funded. So I sold my house in the UK, X number of loans, credit cards, and we just kept, because you probably know yourself, it's very difficult to recoup spend basis the stream rate. Do you know what I mean? You know, you get whatever, $700 for 1 million streams or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? YouTube's even worse. So if you end up spending 1 lakh on a release, for example, you need a couple of million streams to just get your money back. And if you look at Indian hip hop, how many people are doing a couple of million streams? Very,
when
very
you
few.
say you spend 1 lakh on a release, you mean like,
I'm just giving you an example.
Like maybe you make like a music video?
Yes, music video, mix mastering, studio, artwork.
Okay.
Some form of
sure
spend on marketing somewhere. And again, we've spent 10,000 rupees to 35 lakhs on a release. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of, we've done 130 releases, over 150 music videos, 350 tracks. And I got into deep diving into how that has gone commercially, because these guys obviously wanted to know. We've doubled year on year, every year in revenue and streams, basically.
Sure.
We're about to hit 1 billion streams for the whole catalog within the next couple of months, basically.
Congrats.
Shout out Azadi, man.
Yeah. And
so what do you think you
Pandemic, sorry,
guys?
go on.
Yeah, what do you think you guys are doing differently than a lot of the other labels?
we haven't ran a business. And again, I don't think you, I think if you put 100 crore in right now, you couldn't create another Azadi. It was a very time thing. It was an industry thing, you know, and up until 2020, it was all self-funded. And then the pandemic happened. So what we were doing is all of the money we were making from live brand work, we were putting into the label, basically. We didn't have a distribution advance. I understood what distribution was very, very early on. And I was like, okay, that fee needs to be as low as possible, basically.
You want to explain that to people? I don't know if they know what that means.
All right. So distribution is a service to distribute your music to digital stores. It used to be a physical business, which required a mass amount of investment. And then they take a cut because of that massive investment gone in. But now essentially they need to press a button and it goes forward. And some of them still feel like they can take 30%. Or 20%.
It's just kind of crazy, bro. Like
it's
like an email essentially, right?
It's a scam.
Yeah. How do you can you bypass that? Or is that not
there's a number of ways. Russ put a really interesting post out the other day just saying that here's my numbers for the last week. I use TuneCall in this service. I pay them an annual fee and everything's mine.
Yeah,
you know
which is cool. Like
even I use like a service like that, DistroKid, TuneCore, and you get to see as much transparency as possible. What these labels will do, though, they'll come to you and they'll be like, hey, we have our own distribution. And because we own such a big stake in Spotify and everything, we get better rates of royalties.
Yeah.
So even if we're taking 20%, we're actually making you 25% more, which is bullshit.
This is brilliant. You've led this in well. So pandemic happens. Everything shuts down. I'm sitting in my living room shitting myself, basically. So whatever, I think it was mid-March, pandemic lockdown happened. By the end of April, I was like, okay, that was a nice holiday, back to work, moved my desk from my office into my house, and then just sat there every hour, fucking 12 days trying to do something. And then I realized, okay, I need to go raise money. So I started speaking to the distributors because at this time I wasn't tied into a contract because I hadn't taken any advance. We had a certain amount of recognition. So all of the distributors were happy to talk to me and they were all offering me money to sign. And because they knew, most of them knew, obviously the market is fucked at the moment. The ones that were cash rich did a lot of deals where they advanced maybe more money that they should have, knowing that this person is going to be with us for a while, paying that off. So what distribution is suppose you take 100 rupees, okay? They charge you 25% for a set term, not until you've paid back that 100 rupees, but until the term is over. So suppose you do a 100 rupee deal for 3 years, and suppose you pay that 100 rupees off in the first year or the year and a half, you're paying 25% of gross revenue for the remainder of the term. So I like maths. I did the model when I ran it out. It's basically a 60% interest loan.
Yeah.
Between 40 and 60%, depending on your term and how long you pay it off. You might as well go get credit cards, essentially. Do you know
so
what I mean?
to like, for someone who is not as mathematically inclined, like, let's say I'm 19 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like Aditya said, he felt so happy and grateful that, you know, he was being taken as like a serious musician and as an artist. If someone comes to me at 19 and gives me a lot of money for a 19-year-old, but to scale, it's not that much amount of money and I'm locked into a contract, that's fucked up. I think that's what's happening now.
Nothing
a lot of the
comes for
times.
free. Anybody giving you a lot of money is a lot of things. And again, I'm not bad mouthing all distributors, and
you
know
can.
what I mean, I'm
it's
sure.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fuck them, bro.
No, but I just don't understand how one company can service 1,000 artists.
Yeah.
There's one playlist with 50 songs on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody. So again, it's just theoretically not possible. Do you know what I mean? In that sense, to service for that. Now, money has a cost.
Yeah.
First of all, you got to understand that. Money is introduced into the market with a standard rate of finance. Okay. So anybody giving you money, it is costing them to give you money. So you can't obviously expect them to give you money for free. They are going to need to make interest, because you could park 100 rupees in a FD and it will give you 6 or 7%. So they're going to at least want that. Plus, okay, well, I want a little bit on top, you know, but let's just run through the 100 rupees for a second. So you've borrowed 100 rupees from a distributor. They're taking 25%. You make 100 rupees in the first year, for example. It's a 3-year deal. You make 100 rupees in the first year. they take 25% before anything. So now you're left with 75. You've got to pay that 75 to them because you owe them 100. So now you owe them 25. The next year you make another 100. They take 25. So now they've taken 50 in comms plus 75 back. Now they take their 25 back as well. So they've made 75 and you've got 75. Now for the next 2 years, you're still giving them 25% off the top. So it roughly works out at, in this instance, they've made 200 rupees from the 100 rupee investment.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, now the maths is obviously you can move it up and down, but we got into a stage where I had to take an advance in 2020, basically.
Sure.
So I had a number of options, which were all very, very bad. And then in 2018, I met a gentleman called Charles Caldas, essentially. Charles was the founder and CEO of a distribution company called Merlin for 25 years. Merlin is a non-for-profit distribution company. So if you put those two words together, your mind just explodes. If you look into Merlin, Merlin essentially has gone and done deals with all the major DSPs, saying that we represent 3,000 plus independent labels. So now they've built. So their whole purpose is to try and keep independent, basically.
Sure.
So now they've brought that cost down. You don't get any advances,
Sure.
but Merlin in India is at 1.5% distribution. Merlin globally is around 2.53% distribution fee. That's to cover their costs.
Sure.
There's obviously additional costs on top of that for you. The ingestion is a cost. So the delivery, you either build your own platform, which is, tens of thousands of dollars, or you use an intermediary service for delivery, which is either a per track fee per year or so on and so forth. But so I spoke to Charles and he was just like, okay, what deals have you got? I was like, I've got this. Basically, it was okay. They're all very bad. I'm like, yeah. He goes, let me speak to somebody. So he connected me with a chap called Nando in Portugal. Now, Nando.
All right.
Nando.
Yeah.
His name's Fernando. But
Okay.
Nando started a hip hop label called Bauer Music in the 90s in Spain. And it was a social political rebellious label that, again, became the biggest hip hop label in that part of the world, basically. And then that label kind of grew into a distribution company. So he connected me with Nando, and Nando essentially gave me an incredible advance deal with a better interest rate that anybody was offering me here, basically. So we took.
And what's the term for you?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Could you share a rough figure of what the advance was?
Yeah, we got $250,000.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
as an advance in 2020, basically. We were being offered a lot more money by other distributors at a much higher.
Wait, this was in 2020, so your term expires this year.
Well, I'll come to that. Yeah. We're now still with Altafonte, but we've paid them back fully, basically. So again, he did the deal for me. He set it up for me, and we kind of did the deal, and that's essentially what funded the next 2 years of Azadi,
Sure.
basically. And now I've got somebody to answer to because we've borrowed money. So now it's a business in the sense that, okay, I need to hit numbers because there's an advance to pay back. Otherwise, I'm here for a long time. So we thankfully kind of hit those numbers, and we went back to Altafonte and we were like, can we get some more money, please? And because it was working and it was a good deal. And they were just like, look, we're not in the position at the moment because we're trying to raise our own funding and finance.
Yeah.
So we can't dish out too much cash at the moment. But if you want to leave, we'll let you leave ahead of your term, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right. So I went back to Charles, and Charles had now started Acceleration Music. And I was like, hey, can I come? And he was like, look, you're a bit small for us at the moment. And, but let me see who I can talk to and so on. So I actually ran out of money last year. I ran out of money last April. Thankfully, other areas of the business were going okay. So we could kind of sustain, but we can't really scale in that sense. I couldn't sign new acts, and the bigger the acts get, the more money they need to kind of spend in them in that sense. So I spent the last year just trying to raise funding, capital, finance from somewhere. I looked at Web3, VC, friends and family. Obviously, I could have picked up a stupid amount of money from any distributor at any given time again, but I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not the music business, it's the finance business.
Sure.
Now, once you understand that you need to separate your funding and your distribution, you have a lot more control as either a label or an artist, essentially. you could go get a home loan for 8%. You can get a normal loan for 12, 13%. So if it's money that you need, for example, then don't take it from a distributor. Because again, I just feel that I'm yet to see a distributor break an artist.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Like,
I've seen a distributor take a big artist and put them everywhere.
Yeah.
So the age old, we pay more. I've had that, and I've asked them, what do you pay? We can't tell you. What do the others pay? We don't know. So how the fuck do you know you pay more? Like, let's just stop the bullshit. Okay?
Yeah.
They don't contract in that you're going to get playlists or covers. So I've got to take your word for it, do I? Okay, and I'm going to give you 30%, 25%. Okay, no, not doing
Yeah,
that.
that's the worst thing.
Yeah, just so again,
They're not contractually obligated to do
not
anything
at all.
for you.
And again, you have tens of thousands of songs coming out a week.
Yeah, exactly.
So and even in their defense, imagine 1,000 people emailing you a day going, "Can I get playlisted, please?"
Yeah.
You just
do
physically.
you think
can't.
that's like a good avenue to get people recognized? Like let's
it's
say we'll put
discovery.
you on like a
Yeah,
playlist or
It has
something.
to be,
discovery.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
discovery.
That's like
Discovery.
that's the new MTV music video.
Yeah,
It's like
discovery.
you have a playlist that updates every week or whatever, and you're on that playlist.
I have an alternative, or I feel I do basically. But anyway, we
What is that alternative?
Wait, let him finish the.
I'll start tangenting again. So now I'm beginning of 2023, and I've literally ran out of money, basically. And I'm cash flow juggling month to month. Now I'm not running a label. I am an accountant, essentially, and figuring out what to do and where to go and how to pay. And then I went back to Charles, and I'm like, Charles, listen, I'm about to sign I have to sign a distribution deal with one of these guys. And he's like, how much money are they giving you? I'm like, a lot. He's like, okay, how much do you need? I went, not that much, but they want to give it to me. So whatever. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to freaking take it. He goes, all right, give me 48 hours. 48 hours passes. He comes back. He goes, okay, I've spoke to the partners and we're going to work something out for you, which just isn't normally done. I'm like, why? He goes, because we believe in you. Now that's, I've always been told that VCs don't fund companies. They fund founders. And this, I really understood it then, is that they had enough belief in me to go, we can see what he's done and cool, we'll back this guy. But again, everything's on my head. It's a personal guarantee on me. If Azadi fails, I got to pay it back. So again, they're VCs that cover their backs, but they ended up giving me what's known as a line of credit, essentially. And at any given time, they can convert the credit line into equity within the business and so on, which is obviously the kind of ways VCs work. But we agreed an amount. I'm not going to disclose what it is, but we've agreed an amount.
Can you tell us the evaluation of which you agreed on that? You're not giving us a percent, so we don't know.
I'll give you a range.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. You can
between 5 and 15.
Okay, $1 million.
5 and 15,000. This is
yeah. And
that's sick though, dude.
Yeah, no, man.
Yeah, that's
cool. That's cool.
And we did the deal, and Billboard announced it, Music Week announced it, Music Business announced it, because again, it was the first time an Indian entertainment company has had international VC funding sitting in Mumbai. No international office, no international artists. And if you look at kind of what these guys do, their whole purpose is to keep independent music independent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The 5 partners are 5 kind of Billboard top 40 power player type people, been there, done that, and they're like, okay, music business is fucked. Let's help, basically. So, what kind of annoyed me about it is nobody here spoke about it. Not one.
I guess they don't want you to be independent. You know what I mean?
I don't know, but
it's also not the easiest thing to digest. You know what I mean?
It's not the easiest thing to digest.
I hope y'all understood.
No, I understood. But the thing is, and we spoke about this on another podcast, the music industry does it right now. It's not an industry, right? Like there's no sub jobs around it that speak about the industry in a way that
we have very little credible editorial in this country.
Yeah,
very little.
That's what I think it is.
That and like there's no shows, there's no podcasts.
So you were saying discovery playlists.
Yeah.
When we started doing this in 2017, again, the reason I stayed here from 2014 is because I could literally felt like I could see what's about to happen. And I went through this 15 years ago. I'm a product of jungle. I'm a product of drum and bass. I'm a product of garage. I'm a product of grime. I've gone through pirate radio, live shows, fucking rave parties. So I've seen culture develop in the UK, or urban culture develop in the UK, which is essentially what's kind of happening here.
Yeah, sure.
We're moving in 2016, when I started looking at these stats, 86 or 87% of the revenue here was generated by the film business in music.
Yeah.
Now that's sub 60.
Just crazy.
Yeah. So again, times change, so again, it was a very, that 2016 to 21, 22 was a very quick period here where we moved forward 15 years, essentially.
Sure.
Now, for distribution, we can do very different deals because money is not involved. Nobody here kind of spoke about it. And that's when I kind of called you. I was like, okay,
I found it fascinating.
I found it fascinating. And honestly,
I'm not surprised that people don't want you to get this kind of money, bro. You know what I mean? They kind of want to keep it under the rug. They want to keep their monopoly.
In terms of like music journalism or just entertainment journalism in India, it's always been run such a specific way. And something like this is just not sensational.
Yeah.
Like other things.
No, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Well, yes and no, because I've seen a number of other deals just announced and spoken about. And I don't know if they've paid, because we've never paid for PR.
I think that's what it is. I think
we've never paid for PR here. We've never hired a PR agent and given them and got them to put stories in. Yeah.
To get organic coverage on something like this is much tougher, and all of these guys are like connected to bigger,
Yeah, well, everybody has a papa here from what I've found out. Yeah. No, it's true. I don't know many independent record labels in India.
Yeah.
Chump change, right?
I want to go back to one thing you said about discovery, because it keeps going in my head.
Yep.
We made a very conscious effort to play live, to get in front of people. So the first 2017, 18, 19, 20, we lost more money in live shows than we did in making music. Because we put on a show. So the Azadi second anniversary tour lost a ridiculous amount of money, moving 23 people around the country. Bayan tour, you will not see an Azadi flyer with a brand name on top. Top half, you know what I mean? This presents, that presents. We've made a conscious effort to always have us or the artist presenting something. We don't have brand logos on stage. We don't have, a massive glow box there going, this is who's put on this show kind of thing. Because I honestly believe proper fan base is built through word of mouth. It's you going to your friend, yo man, fucking check out this band, and you guys listening together.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I feel that has an infinite amount better impact than an algorithm, a playlist suggestion or something like that, because there's a certain inherent connection to a bond of listening to that, basically.
100%.
So we've built that into the very fabric of everything that we do. That's why we don't do paid PR. It's why we don't do ad spend. And if we do, it's so we reach the own audience that we've built, rather than widen the funnel at the top and try and reach 1 million people with this ad, basically. Because again, if you look at every single one of our artists on Azadi, they have a multiple X of Spotify followers or listeners than they do Instagram.
Yeah.
When usually it's the other way around in this music business. You've got much larger following on Instagram and you're trying to up your Spotify numbers, basically. But let's just take Seedhe, Maut, for example, because they are an absolute anomaly. They've got 240,000 on Instagram. They've got 460,000 followers on Spotify, 1.1 million listeners.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They do 18 streams per listener in a 28-day cycle. The industry average is 3.
Mine is like 4.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. No, you're 30% above the average, bro.
Fuck yeah.
But again, when we're talking about data, when I break into those boys' numbers, at the moment, where I'm their manager and label, and now obviously they've done their last release on Azadi, so we're trying to look at other options. So I'm talking to obviously all the majors, and I'm showing them their numbers, and they're just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
crazy. And again, we've always sold tickets. we've always sold tickets to shows. It started off with 50 and then 100 and then 500 and then 2,000. And do you know what I mean? That's, again, it's why we don't use ticketing agencies. It's why we don't use intermediary platforms to sell to artists, sell from artists to fans. We use the artist's own website, always have. Azadi.com, Prabh.com, Seedhe.com, Emma has his own website. Because that fan and artist connection had to be unadulterated with anybody else going, hey, check this out, we're presenting this.
Sure.
And I understand that funding and everything's needed, but, you know, in my opinion and from what we've built, I feel that there is an inherent difference between something that you've built brick by brick over a serious amount of time with quality and consistency, rather than having somebody massively amplify something for you at one stage to spike, and then all those people move on to the next thing that's being massively amplified.
Yeah, sure. You'd rather like a consistent like mid
Usually
flow,
when that happens, like when even like someone goes viral on TikTok or something like that, they look for your other catalog, and if it doesn't match what you just put out, or it's not up to the same standard, they're moving on. They forget about you.
Like
Yeah.
Steve Lacy, right? Have you
so
seen
that's
that?
why.
Have you seen that Steve Lacy clip where he put out Bad Habits, huge, biggest song in the world. He makes great music. He's had like a sort of consistent fan base, never this big. And he went on like a tour of the US, and literally it's like dead silent until Bad Habits plays, and then everyone's recording.
It's just 14-year-old girls being like, play the TikTok
You know what I'm saying?
You've got some massive artists in this country that don't sell tickets.
Yeah.
Name
Or
them.
don't go on tour.
Yeah, just like we can
No,
just name
again,
drop a
it's just
few.
no. Well, no, but again, I'll stick to us because I can.
Sure.
Seedhe Maut did 2,500 tickets in Delhi, bro.
That's crazy.
2,500 tickets in Delhi, and without like no marketing ad spend, billboards for the show. Do you know what I mean? No radio play, just literally fan base.
That's awesome.
We've got 50,000 email addresses, or not people that have signed up. It's people that have interacted with Seedhe Maut, either bought some merch, came to a ticket. We do free digital pack downloads.
Sure.
So you could go download a wallpaper, go download, something for your phone. We've done free track downloads now and again. We did an NFT sign up whitelist. We had, 11,000 people sign up for a whitelist, out of which 2,500 people actually got one, basically.
So do you have to pay them back now, or is that?
No. Well, we gave all of them away for free. We
Yeah.
covered the NFT airdrop fees.
Yeah.
The idea of NFTs wasn't to make money; it was to build
Have that
build a
connection,
fan
kind
base.
of,
Yeah, and then we
That's
kinda
like at the
carried
heart
that
of what an NFT was.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And we kind of went against the grain where everybody was putting an NFT up on a specific website or two
Yeah.
and saying this is 20 grand, 10 grand.
Yeah.
Seedhe Maut created a 60 lakh market cap on a platform. They're the second largest NFT fan base holders in the country.
That's crazy.
And the platform that we did it with, they came to us and they said, did you know this? And they sent me like a top 10. And I was like, well, I had no idea. And literally up there was some, can't remember, it was some devotional thing, basically, believe it or not. Yeah.
Why the departure, Seedhe Maut, from Azadi?
Bro, I personally believe they've outgrown the label, and they do as well. And this is a really interesting story, man, because I've known of the boys since 2015. I've worked with them in some way since 2016, and then we obviously signed them later. But they're at a stage at the moment now where they can go anywhere.
Of course.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And
They could also stay
negative
independent though, right? Is that an option? for
Well,
them?
yeah, I think that's what the plan is. So we had a conversation. They were like, "Look, Mo, it's been great, but we kind of want to move on." And I'm like, "Cool, wicked. Let's close everything up, and we'll let me know kind of what you want to do." And they were like, "No, you're coming with us." I'm like, "Sorry, what?" They're like, "Yeah, we're going to start our own imprint. We want to do animation studio. We want to do cool creative stuff. We want to find emerging new talent, and you're going to help us basically run it." And I'm like, "Thanks, man."
Nice.
Yeah. So
Wait, as in the realm of like a manager for them?
so I am still their manager and still will be.
Okay, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Now I'm moving more up to agent. Let's just put it that way.
Sure.
And again, we operate slightly differently in Azadi in terms of our managers have teams built around them.
Sure.
in that sense. But again, the management business is very, very, very difficult. But Seedhe Maut will essentially should announce something relatively soon. They'll set up a new imprint. We will build a team around them, which we already have. So some of the existing team that we have at Azadi will become a direct Seedhe Maut team. We've got 20 people in the office, and I look at everybody in the office as talent in the same way as I do the artists, because it is 50-50. You need somebody as talented in specific places to kind of, get to where a lot of artists kind of want to be. Do you know what I mean? And that team is very often not credited enough for some. I know what it takes to put on a stadium show, self-produced, self-ticketed, ran the box office ourselves, did security ourselves, stage, tech. Do you know what I mean? So, but to do that and to understand and learn it and have 2,500 kids come in and just fucking go ape shit, that's true independence. Do you know what I mean? And we did that with them. Their part was filling that stadium.
Sure.
Our part was making sure it went exactly how they wanted it to go. Do you know what I mean? What I love about that show is if you look at any photo, massive fucking stage, big Seedhe Maut logo on the top.
Do you guys have like a vlog put out of this? Or
We do. Yeah? Again, we've made conscious effort to document everything over the last. I've got 100 terabytes of hard drives, basically. Yeah. But if you look at Seedhe Maut's Instagram, YouTube, there's vlog videos from 2018, basically, of them doing this or that and the other. And that, for me, is what's kind of built the fan base. Is they've kind of grown with them over the last 5-6 years. And, these boys are now 26, 27. So now you've got a real kind of spread in their kind of demographic. They've got a decent amount of female listeners. Anything as young as
That's what it's all
15.
about, right?
Well,
wait, can I guess it's like 6% for them?
No, it's like almost 12-13%. Yeah, which is
that's crazy for Desi hip hop.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah. But one thing that we smashed and we realized was remove alcohol from shows, basically.
Huh?
Yeah.
Really?
Hip hop audience don't drink.
What?
And it cost us.
Have they tried Pursues?
Pursues, they come in 4 different flavors. Shout out Pursue, man.
I think that might be the most controversial thing you've said.
Really? Oh no!
Wait. While you
they don't
explain
drink,
this,
so
we have like 10 minutes left, and I really want to play Burp or
Burp or
Slurp
Slurp.
with him. So, Aaron, can you get the
They're in
6
the
shot?
fridge.
Purple stop.
Burp or Slurp. It's a segment.
Yeah, you threw a lot of names at me, bro, and then you said like you're a hip hop guy. So what is your like top 5?
I was gonna ask this.
like artists of all time, because I'm seeing so many different like names coming out of
I'm
your
gonna
mouth
show my age.
Wait,
all time.
I also have a specific question. You want to go for? Okay,
Go on.
That's
I have
already
a similar question.
most top 5 artists.
Oh my god.
Nas has got to be up there for me.
Okay,
I think
cool.
He's on my
cool.
list.
Discography wise,
Sure.
I grew up listening to Tupac, and
Sure.
I feel that what he, by the age of 20, he died when he was 26.
That's kind of
Insane.
crazy,
And if
man.
you look at his body of work, it's insane. There's a guy called Rakim.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
Yeah, old school guy.
ASAP is
He'd make
named
your
after
he'd
him.
make your top
ASAP Rocky is
was
named
it?
after him.
Oh, wow.
he'd make your top 5 in like artists all time.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's gonna be it's gonna be difficult because I'll definitely kind of leave out a few.
Sure, I'd say like, okay, let's say maybe not your top 5
Yeah.
artists.
But again, everybody would say Kendrick Cole, okay, or one of those would kind of be in there. For me, Kendrick isn't, because I didn't grow up listening to him.
Yeah,
You know
sure.
what I mean? And he's a phenomenal, arguably the best there is. But I just never, I started listening to Kendrick 10
Sure.
years ago. Do you know what I mean? When I was 30.
So we got who? We got Nas, Rakim,
Yeah.
Tupac.
Yeah. Now, not a rapper, but I just feel his impact and influence on hip hop is a big reason why it's today. Dre.
Yeah, sure.
Very, very,
Sure.
very
Yeah.
underrated as an influence on hip hop today.
100%, bro. I don't think.
yeah.
I mean, Eminem, 50 Cent,
Mhm.
Kendrick.
Yeah,
it's
again.
3
Yeah.
people who defined
Yeah.
each generation almost.
And I know.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
And again, another guy that died way too early, but just was super nice with it, was a guy called Jay Dilla.
Yeah, of course. Producer.
Yeah. It was just, again, his influence now on production. If you listen to
Sure.
Madlib now,
Sure.
if you listen to Primo, you know what I mean? They're very, he laid a foundation very much like Dre did in a certain time for it to build.
Yeah.
And then kind of moving forward. I could name fucking 5 more, but they're
Why don't you? Because I mean, you have a lot of influences. I heard
Timbaland's influence on hip hop.
Sure. Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm sure is up there for you.
Not hip hop, no.
No, just not even
well,
hip hop.
yeah,
That's why I said top 5 artists of all time. Like you can do anyone.
Okay.
Anyone. Because we know you're a hip hop guy.
Yeah,
Aman has a really
I have a question I'm dying to ask,
Okay.
man. You said you're a child of grime, garage, all of these things. Mount Rushmore of UK rap.
All right, you can't start this without my man Rodney P. Rodney was the first person to rap in a British accent.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I thought it was
He's the
Tiny
god-
Temper.
he's-
You know, because I swear to God, that's the
Yeah.
first English
No,
rapper I heard
you
of.
Check out Rodney P. We actually brought him to India, him and Skits. Rodney, oh man.
make
There's a guy called Black Twang. Again, you probably know none of these
Yeah,
people.
we don't.
Yeah, Rodney P, Black Twang. There's a guy called Kalashnikov.
Okay.
And maybe somebody newer. Check out Verb T. He's from
wow.
Never
heard of any
High
of
Focus Records. Yeah,
So-
check out High Focus Records.
Okay,
in the UK.
okay.
Yeah.
Wiley, Skepta, Stormzy, Dave.
They're all grime. They're all MCs.
MCs,
yeah,
yeah.
they're all grime MCs. Wiley, obviously, Wiley's the godfather of grime.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, Skepta, nice with it. You know, now there's obviously Stormzy doing his thing,
Sure.
but all of these guys, you know, wouldn't kind of be where they are if it wasn't for Rodney and Black Twang and, you know, the guys that in the 90s, when British rap wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm glad we have the British segue because normally for our Burp Or Slurps, we did one with Tej where we had like a nasty vegetable juice because he's a huge meat eater. For the last one, who do we have?
Oh, we had
we had
straight
Russian
vodka. Yeah.
And for you, we have
okay.
the juice from the baked beans can.
Oh, fuck. Bro. I was wondering.
He saw us outside. He was like, "Oh, you got baked beans.
I
It's
saw
nice."
the can. And if you've been to my house, there's always beans in my house.
Uh-huh.
Always, yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad you'll enjoy this.
No,
then.
not cold beans with water, bro.
So here's how it works. Okay, we're gonna ask you a question. If you choose to answer it, we take a shot. If you choose to not answer it, you have to take a
All right,
shot.
then. Go on, then.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to toe the line between asking you some ridiculous questions so we don't have to take the shot. I hope you understand that. I do not. You just.
Oh, man.
Bro.
Why not the vodka, bro?
You can mix it with it if it makes it better for you.
Well, can I at least mix this?
Yeah, I think if you just stir it a little bit.
Oh, my God. It's just sitting at the bottom.
Yeah, it looks, oh God. Well, last time when we had Tej on, Aditya insisted on eating this Thai chili.
Oh, my God.
And we were like, no, don't do it. And he was like, no, I have to. We're authentic here. And he eats the chili and he's doing the outro, just tears.
Having said that, we'll see you next week.
Okay, you ready for the first question?
Go on, then.
How much money did Seedhe Maut make a year to date? How much money did they make this year?
Oh, okay.
I can't answer that.
All right. Let's go.
What do I have to do?
Just take a
Take
shot.
the shot.
Like the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boys.
They made 765.
See what I'm doing for you boys. The whole thing.
The whole thing. Well,
Oh my god.
That's disgusting.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you an easier one to lay that off, okay?
I get what? This is not fair. This game.
we had someone on. Even when they play the game, everyone's like, "This is not right. This is not right." You know.
Okay, AP Dhillon is one of the biggest Indian hip-hop artists out right now. If given the chance, who would you trade him for on your roster?
No one.
Oh no, you have to.
Oh, I
If you
have to
had
Oh yeah. Because I was like, yeah, wait, that's a.
And it could be your management roster or your label roster.
I'm on the roster. Do I count?
No.
No.
Jesus Christ, bro.
So you can have mine.
I think there's one.
This was not an easier one.
Wait, I think there's one
Past,
easy
present, or
pick.
future?
No. Current.
Come on.
You can't.
That's an easy pick.
Yeah. And
Man.
not in any disrespect to the person I'm thinking of, but just that he maybe doesn't fit on your roster the most.
Oh right. Oh right. Okay. Okay. Cool. I'd have to be one of the DJs.
But they're like family. You can't name them.
Well, yeah, no, but now I don't want to.
You can have mine. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Let me stir this one up for you.
You know what?
I love the people I work with. I'm just saying.
I'm going to say a name, and he knows I'm saying it just to say it and not to fucking take this thing. I'll trade him for TNS.
Oh no! Come on,
No, no, you can't do that.
He said a name, man.
No. I feel like it's.
Sorry, Bob, you traded, bro.
At some level, you have to give. He said a name.
Okay. All right, you know what? Can I mix mine, please?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you need to because it would yeah.
Thanks.
Oh no.
Thank you for this. TNS. This one's for you, buddy.
Sorry, bro.
Oh no, dude. Okay, you know what?
Have you guys had the shots,
Bobby?
before?
No.
As in, like in the previous games.
They were in different drinks.
All right, but then you did.
Oh,
Oh yeah, they have had.
Not that bad.
All right, okay, cool.
Not that bad.
yeah. We chose this because I'm not drinking alcohol. That's why.
All right, yeah, no, I stopped as well for a while.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still drunk. Yeah.
I just want to be included in this
Okay.
sober conversation.
Last one. I'm gonna make this. I don't know if you're gonna answer this.
Go on.
Name 3 bad apples in the Indian music industry.
Like who you despise.
Oh man, you're just gonna get me hated.
You can always take the shot.
Wasn't that bad?
It's not bad.
Oh Jesus Christ! Do you know what I've learned to not piss people off.
Just
Because
mix his
it-
shot for him. No?
People, you just get ready. He's a uni ball never like. He's learned his lesson.
You know, on this show, we've had so much weird shit, dude. We had a toothpaste taste test
Yeah, that was wild.
where we tried maybe like
16.
16
No,
different.
sorry.
Didn't they just all taste the same?
No, it didn't. You know, it's actually very distinctive flavors. But on the back of each and every toothpaste, and Aman made us aware of this. Obviously, it's like, do not ingest this
I'm trying
toothpaste.
to think if I can think of 3 bad apples because I don't want to do this.
Well,
I think you can name some. You have them in your mind. I know this for a fact.
Oh, man, I think maybe 50.
well, then we should just fucking name drop.
No,
those.
bro.
People are gonna hate
I'll just yeah.
Well, enjoy the
I
shot.
told him
man.
a story before this, and I was like, we can't talk about this, but I'll let you know. So this was it, and then it was just not very nice. Cool. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's go.
Thank you for being a good
Nice.
sport.
Yeah, straight up, man. Thank you.
Thank you, boys. How's breakfast? Oh, I bought something for you all.
Yes, let's do it. Our empty shelf item. You teased me with it already, so I kind of know what it is, but I don't know
So
who printed it.
I'm really proud of this. Is basically these boys, for the audience that they have, are some numbers that I will tell you. Seedhe Maut's Lunch Break has done 60 million streams.
Wow.
And if you understand that number from an Instagram following of 200 something thousand, it's impossible. The boys are a force. I've
Crazy.
got you an unopened Seedhe Maut.
Whoa, let's go. Let's go.
Box set, CD set.
Thank you.
Can I see that?
Yeah, of
I
course.
love CDs, man.
Orange
I used to love
see them on
CDs.
fan. He's
Catch
hilarious.
Yeah.
the boys at a
Straight up.
festival headline near you this season, and they're going to smash it up.
I remember I still have my Carter 4 CD.
I don't have a CD
you know.
player.
I don't have a CD player anymore, but
There
man,
was one
it's-
person in the office who had a CD drive on their laptop.
this is
and I
kind
was
of
just
cool,
like,
man. What's the
Yeah.
concept behind this?
Man, we've always
Behind
done
this
merch.
cover.
Oh, right.
It's pretty cool.
Boys are massive, obviously, anime manga fans. And
Really,
they're in the process of developing their first
really.
Wow.
That's fucking
animated.
sick,
They
dude.
want to take again, they're very creative. They want to take Indian animation and, you know, that storytelling
sure.
and kind of build that. So
They want to start. They want to have their own anime.
they have already started writing it.
What's it about? Can you share that with us at all? Is it about these two samurai dudes?
No. Well, I won't give you too much away, but it's a concept of different types of heroes, from what I understand.
Uh-huh.
But I'll let them kind of break it into you. But
Very sick.
they're writing it at the moment. We're going to take the next kind of 6-9 months. Don't expect much new music out from Seedhe Maut for a while. I think they've kind of said that themselves. They're going to take.
Do you know any of the inspirations that they had to create anime? Like, do you know any?
I
of
know
their
that. I know
favorite-
they're massive fans of One Piece.
Oh,
I think I don't know. I think there's like 1,000 episodes.
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, man,
So
it's
they're way
so-
through that. I
That's
should pay more
impressive.
attention, but they're both always reading this series of books,
Sure.
and they're obviously there's loads of them, and they read them, pass them on to each other, whatever.
Like,
But yeah, they're obviously from music and referencing and so on and so forth. But there's a lot of detail in there and
That's
the
sick, man.
dragons and bits and pieces.
I like that. Man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you
All
for
good,
that.
man. Yeah.
That's gonna be on my side.
We only made 500 of these.
Okay.
Wow.
We have
only
one of
made-
500.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
only made 500.
That's pretty
They'll
sick,
never,
man.
and like with every merch we do, we'll never make it again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, thank you more for being here. I'm going to link what I think is one of the coolest pieces I've seen from Azadi, which is the Vice doc you guys did on the 2nd year anniversary tour. I'm going to link that in the description. You guys should go check it out. And yeah, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you for being here,
having me.
dude.
Cheers, guys.
See you next time, guys.
Thank you.
Peace.
Cheaper by the dozen, hate them or you love them. If you make me feel away, then I might switch up for your cousin. Keep one in the dark and I'll keep 10 more in the oven. If we wanna stop, we can try. It's cheaper by the dozen.